Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Return of the Obra Dinn. This is by developer Lucas Pope and this is a very early development build of this upcoming game. Now keep in mind Lucas Pope is the developer behind Papers, Please. A very impressive game, got a lot of recognition for it, very critically acclaimed as it were, and I have to say this very early build actually feels like it follows suit already. With the very little bit of content that's in it. Now, I don't want to spoil too much of this for you, so I'm going to kind of leave a little bit of it ambiguous, but I do want to warn you off the top, though, there will be scenes of pretty explicit gore and violence, as well as some kind of difficult-to-swallow sounds that'll happen in this game, so just be aware if you're at all sensitive to graphic imagery and auditory stuff going on. So, let's jump into things, and I will take you for a little bit of a tour of a very impressive upcoming game. So here we go. So just want to be very clear, this is an early development build, fair enough. Most content is missing and there are rough edges on the rest. Take that with a grain of salt. I think actually some of it looks pretty freaking cool, but that's just me. Company called on me. Said you'd need a ferry to the ship. Seems a bit late, if you ask. I didn't. It shouldn't be back, the Obra Dinn. I know. Could be cursed. Could be. Your box there. What's in it? I don't know. Looks heavy. Hoist it up in a few minutes. What? How? Carefully. Alright, so a little bit slow, I have to say, on that first opening dialogue, mostly just because there's, some spacing and things. Like, I feel like the stuff could kind of be delivered a little bit faster. So we've got to find the crew roll book, and that's our primary objective here. And as you can see, we have spawned into this world that is this ship. And I have to say, the graphics here, this stippled technique, looks really nice to me. The shading is very bold. We're using, obviously, just two colors. And I think using them to great effect, because we actually can use this effect to show details that you might never have noticed, because it eliminates all of the gradients of, like, unnecessary coloration and just, extraneous detail in general. So we're just going to take a quick jaunt around the ship, have a bit of a look out into the dark sea below. We've got some very pointed and useful sound effects, of course. I say useful here sort of a little bit in a silly way, but in general, these sound effects do definitely add and play a massive role in what's going on, and they are very representative of the sort of same meticulous detail that goes into the graphics. As you can hear very clearly, we're walking on wood. I don't know if that's sort of the thing that we need to point out, but in general, it does point out detail. So yeah, we've kind of got a good idea here. We've got... Looks like we can see below the deck. Is there anything going on down there? I don't know if there is. I should point out that I've played through this whole development build and seen everything there is to see, and in just a little bit we'll reveal why this game is quite as interesting as it seems, because so far I'm just walking around a ship, and that's not a very big deal. Anybody could do that. Maybe not with the same sort of graphical flair, but we do have a Skeleman down here, and I'm kind of wondering what's up with him. Not really wondering, because like I said, I already played it, but, in the sense that we're framing the video. So let's go into this cabin. Is there anything we can see in here? It doesn't look like we can interact with any of the drawers or things over here. The closet doesn't open. Alright, well, nothing to see in this particular venue. Okay, hoy! Your box. I'll put it here. Okay, cool. So our box has been delivered. Just let that door automatically shut itself so I can check this door for you as well. That one's locked. Good to know. These two are also going to be locked. I'm just going to tell you straight away, but I'll show you too, in case you don't believe me. Oh, sorry, that one's not locked. I lied. My mistake, I forgot. Okay, so yeah, same deal though. Nothing to see in particular in here. And none of the drawers or closets open. Gonna wait for this to shut again. It's, such as the issue with having ship space, which is very small and limited. I love this dynamic shadow too, the fact that this is moving like this. Gives you that feeling of a little bit of weight. You can see the horizon line kind of shifting a little bit. The game has an amazing sense of detail, and it's absolutely necessary that it has that sense of detail as well, as you'll see in just a moment here. So let's open up our case. It looks like we've got some sort of pocket watch of sort. I shall press spacebar. Memento Mortis. In other words, remember death is the message behind this. So we can hold it, and it will play a very valuable role in this game. In fact, it is a pivotal role. Because now when we look at the Skeleman here, note, of course, the axe sitting down on the ground, or hatchet, rather. Let's use our time turner. And we're brought to another place in time, where there is voice acting.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Alright, so here's our actual premise. We are a freaking time-traveling detective in a Game Boy world. I love it so much. Alright, so what we're going to be doing is trying to break down what's going on in each one of these scenes, and there will be several of these scenes. So we've got a couple men here. These are presumably the people that were, you know, trying to knock down the captain's door. We've got another dude up here who I want to point out. May end up playing a role a little bit later, and you can look in his mouth. You can see he's got some sort of knife clutched in his teeth. The bullet fired by this man right here is going to go through the other man's hand. It looks like it might actually have cut through part of his finger there, kind of broken it off or hit his palm, and then it goes right through the base of his neck and out the other side, where we've got some splatter effects and things. You could presumably try and follow the path of the bullet from here and actually find that it seems to land right about there, but I've run out of time, oh no! It's actually not as big of an issue as you might think. But what this does is each time we reveal one of these sequences, a little bit more of the world also gets revealed as a result too. So it's going to allow us to travel in now into the captain's cabin and see what's going on in here, where we will find there are more bodies, and things kind of devolve into a pretty murderous scene. You can see there, that's the knife that we may have found just reasonably recently in the teeth of that other character. And we can walk out the back of the ship. Doesn't look like anything going on here. And we can also try this door. Locked. Anything here? Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of evidence going on in general, but there will be a big reveal right here in that we can interact with this book. I really love how the character's hand extends too, just to make sure that we get the point that we can interact with that object. So this is the crew muster roll for the good ship Obra Dinn, departing to Formosa, I believe that says. Or Farmasa, I don't know. The script is a little bit tough to read, but verified, accurate, and complete on March 20th, 1802 by Edward Grenstall, agent of the Honorable East India Company. And we click the bottom of the page there, and this is the game premise that, like, I kind of revealed the other game premise. This is the major overarching premise. We need to find the fate of every single person on this ship. And as you can see, as we reach page 5, 6, 7, 8, there are a lot of people here. This is a freaking huge mystery game, where we're going to be using our ability to travel through time to try and piece together what is to be a very dauntingly massive story. And I am so excited. Like, when I reached this point, when I was playing this before, determine the fate of everyone on board, that moment was the big gestalt for me. So press tab to open the crew muster roll. So at any point we can go and try and make a note of who exactly did what and what their fate was. So I'm going to go and click on another one of these bodies, and we'll go back in time again to the exact point where this incident took place. And since it's focusing on the individual person, it is very cool to see how things change from one person to the next as this time sort of moves forward slightly.
The bottom of the sea. That's a lie.
Alright, so actually those sounds are very, very important. The actual sequence of events that takes place, when you hear what, will obviously play a big role in determining who did what, how the sequence of events took place, and it will sort of allow you to have a little bit more insight than you might normally expect. So we've got somebody jumping down here. This is the same dude with the knife, it looks like, and he's going to make an entrance through here. Anything else going on worth note? Well, looks like the character that was shot is now bleeding out on the ground. See, hatchet still there. And it is worth taking your time a little bit just to get a quick glance around everything that might be noteworthy. But there are also ways that you can kind of waste time by walking in the wrong direction. So I'm not really seeing anything over here. You can also check your time here when it reaches the black dot back at the 12 o'clock mark. That's when we get teleported away. And yeah, it's not a very long time that we have to work, but that's okay. It kind of begs you to replay some of these incidents a couple of times to hear the sounds again as well. So that hasn't really revealed anything else about the world from what I can tell, but there's another body here, so we'll click on this one as well. The sound effects and the music as well go really well. The, oh, right, there's going to be a little bit more voice acting. Gross. Yeah, the very whimsical music that plays when we're actually stopping time like this is very cool. Although I have a feeling if we play the same sequence too many times, it could also get a little bit wearing. So I'm hoping there might be a couple of different things that go on. Alright, so this door seems to be open. Oh, the face on this character is completely blanked out. That's interesting, actually. That's a really cool and important detail that I didn't notice the first time I played. So I guess there is, to some degree, a little bit of a sequence of events, even in that you might want to go and play some of these old events back again, even just to see things that have changed from one person's perspective to the next. Alright, so this person has been, their throat has been cut, it looks like. This guy's getting smashed in the head with what appears to be some sort of a spear, maybe. And you can see some little flecks of blood hitting the ground. You also notice, too, that knife right there has been stabbed into the side of that person's stomach, which could be a bit detrimental, obviously. I'm kind of paying special attention to that knife because it does kind of play a role here, since it is now sitting here on the ground. And then we've been revealed there is another skeleton with a gun next to it. And I guess, as you could probably imagine, that sort of tells its own story, but we're going to tell that story even more directly, and we'll tell it in sequence. So let's click on this character now.
Abigail, your brother, my friend, I shot him dead. I'll be with you soon, my love. Please forgive me for everything.
Yeah, so you probably figured that one out before we got to the end of that dialogue sequence, or monologue sequence. That guy definitely shot himself. Now, the presumption here is he talks to Abigail. There's a character in bed over here. It looks like a lady. You'd think maybe that could be Abigail, right? But he does say, "I'll be with you soon." So unless she's already dead, that would be the presumption that we would start to make now. And, well, you start to wonder, maybe, is that the case? Not sure. But, as you can see, though, one would start to believe that the knife has been removed. That's why this character's tracking blood. He was about to die anyway, which is kind of why he shot himself, in my opinion. And I'm sure you've all got your own opinions as we go, and, you know, feel free to speculate as you'd like. I'm sure you could all go ahead and try this yourself, too, and try and make some notes, because I do see this as being kind of a necessary thing as we play through this. There might be some notes that need to be taken, and I wonder to what degree the gameplay will actually facilitate that. You know, sort of like in the other game by this developer, Papers, Please. There were some very, very minute and careful details to be taken. So let's click on our next character here and see what happens.
Stay inside. It's the devil's work. You could never have brought those things up for her.
So the fate of 2 crew members can be deduced at this point based on the little bits and pieces that we've been given. So if you noticed very carefully there, if you're paying attention, at the very end of that sequence, so obviously we've got a dude saying, you know, stay inside, ma'am, implying that whoever's in this room is alive. Then at the very end of that sequence, you hear what I thought to be a woman scream, but that doesn't necessarily tell you a whole lot, does it? That little bit right there on the wall makes me wonder, because see where the line breaks? It almost looks like what might have been like a bullet hole or some sort of like fuzzy spot where things might have been diffused a little bit. So, you know, the mystery now is, was she dead before or after this invasion took place? Now, I'm not sure, but I do want to start to speculate a little bit, and that's something that I'm going to be doing as I follow this game. And I am absolutely super interested in watching where this development goes, and 100% definitely going to be playing this more in the future. I really hope that this isn't too far off in development, just because I'm excited by it now, and I'm super happy that I got to try this. And I completely wasn't expecting something this interesting, but, you know, graphically, the premise, the whole thing, sound, the whole setup, honestly, is just really cool. And I hope you guys found it as interesting as I did. I'm looking forward to exploring more of the ship, and I sincerely hope that most of this game, if not all of the game, does take place on this whole ship. Just because I kind of like the premise being that all of the details are self-contained in this one very small area. It sort of lends itself to some really crafty storytelling, if you can make all of that story happen in what is a very small area. And, you know, how many things can we not have noticed until they are later revealed by further developments in the story? And that's kind of what I'm really into. And I don't know if any of these doors have changed things. Does this open now? No, it doesn't. So it's probably we're gonna go below deck, I have a feeling. That's gonna be the next place I think we would end up exploring if things do proceed forward. And there aren't a lot of clues in most of the outer areas, so I think everything is pretty much constrained to this one corridor right here. Granted, though, I'm sure things might change as we get further in, since this is super early in development, like I've said 100 times. So I think I'm gonna leave us there. That was the return of the Obra Dinn. Very cool, and I look forward to bringing you some more coverage of this in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it, and if you did, consider leaving a like on the videos. It helps me out a whole bunch, helps continue to spread the word about new and, you know, upcoming artistic, original, and unique indie games. Be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day, so if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed what's on this channel, consider subscribing if you haven't already, because that helps me out as well. And I will be back again for another one tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic night. Talk to you all later.